It's getting to that time of year when I am rearing calves again. I keep suckler cows. I also buy in calves from the dairy herd. These calves belong to mothers that are currently in a milking parlour somewhere providing milk for the human food chain. I feed these calves milk twice a day through these teats. They get 3 litres twice a day, so 6 litres in total, and that is milk replacer. So it's powdered milk. It is cow's milk, it's powdered, and I mix it up with warm water and feed it to them. The reason I use powdered milk is because my cows don't produce enough milk to give these calves any extra. Their milk has to go to their calves. Additionally, it is more biosecure, so that powder will have been screened and no bugs will be passed on through the milk to these calves. The split-in depends for my convenience for a feeding point of view, but also you don't want too many mixing. It's a recipe for disaster. They're fed straw. This is barley straw that I bought off a neighbour. I just handball it from that pile into this triangle. The meal troughs they're using are just galvanised meal troughs, and they're filled with Thompson's wiener pellets, so they'll be getting extra protein from those nuts, but it's also to get them used to eating solids. They're very sweet and tempting to them. It's a bit like Farley's rusks for calves. As far as feeding milk goes, I like to use these feeders that have individual chambers. Now the reason for that is I can make sure that every calf is definitely getting their quota whenever I have these chambers. This shed would have been the shed that I did all my lambing in springtime, but my flock has increased over the years and this shed just wasn't holding them all. So what I decided to do was start rearing calves in it in the autumn time, and then whenever my big covered silo was emptied of silage in the springtime, I would use that for lambing. Ventilation wise, this shed was fine for ewes, but if you got a westerly wind it just got too cold, so I ran strips of tin along the bottoms just to cut the ventilation, which from an airflow point of view is less than ideal. But I think for these calves there should be more than enough air coming in. As you can see, I've closed the gables because this is a south facing gable and a south wind was blowing water in, and this end pen would actually be soaked on a really wet night. They're good fun. So you may have seen stuff in the media, you may have read articles, you may have seen YouTube videos, whatever you like, about what happens to calves from the dairy herd. Now, I'm not speaking for the whole world, I'm not speaking for every individual farmer, but at the minute, and certainly for a long time, the value of calves has been such that it does not make sense for excess calves to be got rid of. It makes far more sense to either rear them yourself or sell them to the likes of himself to be reared. Eventually they'll enter the food chain as beef, and hopefully I'll take a little bit of profit off the top. But I like to hope, from what you've seen here, you can appreciate that they'll have a pretty content existence in between times.